All right.
I'm drunk.
Jason, good news. It's time to hit the intro button.
Recording live from the Haley Sisters Memorial Studios, straight out of lovely Elmont, Ontario, it's time for This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes, your unofficial Warmahordes news broadcast. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday night, the beers are cold, the news is fresh, and the death clock starts now.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Death Clock. You know, this is what, episode 106 or something like that?
Something like that.
No, 10.
Now,
It's like 10.
well,
Really?
no. Now that we've split off the other two shows to their
right.
own numbering scheme,
Right.
I think this is like 107 or something like that.
So anybody that's wondering if you're missing the podcast and you're like, how come you're only broadcasting every 3 weeks? What's happened is well, first off, I took a job that was supposed to make me travel less.
How's that working for you?
And somehow I'm traveling more. And they don't pay me. It's really great.
Where can I apply?
So part of the logic in fixing all of that was to pull back on the amount of podcasting we did and do more live casting. So
Yeah.
we're doing next week will be a battle royale,
I believe so.
which we call, what was the name of it? We call that the
Fight night.
fight night. And you
Real
can
original.
real original. And I'm not sure who's going to be fighting next week.
I have no idea. We should try to pull in somebody
We
new.
should pull in some new folks because lately it's
We'll just get
been
Aubin to put his baby on the table.
He should have a baby
that
by
is
then.
some line of sight blocking and screwing up all your shit terrain.
Yep. Don't play with metal models.
The good news is it'll be newborn, so it'll just
just
sit
basically
there.
sit there,
It's
yeah.
just basically gonna sit there. Or Molly would be good. Just
my
throw your
God.
dog on the table and see how
Just
the game
watch
goes.
it eat all the models.
And once every 3 weeks we do a hobby night with the one and only James Craig. That's like both of those are super worth tuning into. One of it, so the fight night is really a callback to how George and I started this show.
Yeah, if you
which
want to
was-
see some shit video, go to our YouTube channel and look up Miffed and Semi fuck shit up.
That was our original show, which
Yeah.
is why you'll see the Mass Foo logo on the show. Anyway, to digress, please keep tuning in. We're spreading out the news a little bit more. That's the reality, and that also means we have more news to talk about. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce everybody at the table, starting with the man on my left, your right, the one and only George Schweitzer. How was your week, Mr. George?
I was doing pretty good. The nice dental man pulled a tooth out of my head. I was able to get some games in. It was not a bad week.
Jason's planning on getting hammered, so if you wonder why there's just giggles and eventually the sound of a man falling out of a chair.
Apparently something is very bright. I
So
don't
we got
know.
these lights behind us.
Yeah,
But it looks like our butts are like
Or-
have this holy
We have a
aura.
butt glow.
Look at the glow coming from Will's ass.
I have a holy ass. Is that
amazing.
what's causing
That's
that?
not because of the light. That's just normal.
I assumed it was our butts just flaring
is amazing.
off.
So
That
if
is-
you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, skip.
It's just me.
go check out the video.
just imagine ass pillows for everybody.
Yeah.
George,
Yes.
did you get any games in this week?
Wait, this is a War Machine podcast?
Yeah, it's a War Machine
Oh,
podcast.
shit.
We, unlike many other podcasts out there, swear we'll continue talking about this game until the day we stop broadcasting.
So Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I got in, let's see, I got a Battle Box game, and I think I died really fast with Hamkovich earlier this week.
Fair.
Yeah, I'm getting back into Hamkovich, and I screwed up my placement on the caster and got him assassinated.
Is that the one we played on stream?
No, this was after
Wait,
that.
you've done it twice then
Oh
recently.
yeah.
Who did you play that time?
Dave.
Oh, Dave assassinated you?
Yeah, I killed like 97% of his shit. I had a Kodiak standing behind Ron, and those two fucking flying lights he
Hydras.
had.
Harpies,
No,
harpies.
harpies. Yeah,
The first harpy
harpies are good.
rolled the hard crit, knocked Hamkovich down, and then it was just everything in the face, baby.
Yeah.
And down he went.
Yeah, knock down Hamkovich. Yeah.
I do have to applaud, George. We give you a hard time, but you have been sticking to a faction for a while.
For better or worse?
For better or for worse.
It's
We're
not-
all understanding how to play Kador real well, and,
Yeah.
and you're like, we're in. I'm not moving.
That's why after the cast, I'm going to get Matt to write me 2 champions lists.
It's
And
not going to help you.
yeah, well, no. at least I will know it's not the list's fault.
Right? There you go.
Right? Because then I'll know the lists are solid, and it's just literally my play that is fucking things up.
Brian wants to know why Harkovich wasn't standing next to a Cuddlebot.
Because
Were you playing against Ron?
No, all the Cuddlebots had gone out to kill his stuff.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go over to Jason, who's played 950 games because he invited all of the city of Ottawa to come to his house.
I won one though.
We marched. all of the city of Ottawa marched in one person after another.
Yep.
Like
I've been taking them in it's like a brothel of
like a
War Machine.
terrible
It's like a normal Friday night then.
Yeah.
Like a terrible,
But with
terrible
War Machine.
War Machine porn. So go over some of the highlights, the lowlights of the games that you got in this week. You can skip mine because it's the only thing I have to talk about.
I keep playing against Kador a lot. So,
Weird.
So I'm used to playing against George's Kador, which is a way different Kador than the Kador that another Matt I know plays. He plays much more infantry-heavy Kador, so I'm not used.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm not used to it. So he tends to whoop my ass with it. He's also a really good player, so it doesn't hurt.
I am continually surprised at how good he is with Doom Reavers.
He's amazing with
I'm
Doom
continually
Reavers.
surprised how good he is after not playing for like
know.
2 years.
Yeah.
And he just shows up at a pub one night and goes, I've got these models.
Yeah.
And kicks everybody's ass and tells them the rules.
Well, when you have to relearn everything from Mark 1, I guess you have nothing bad to unlearn.
It's ridiculous.
Like I think it's literally it's like I have forgotten everything about this game. I guess I have no preconceived notions.
We're all just gonna have to encourage him to go win a like a real tournament soon.
He came in like third. He came out to
He did.
a
He came
tournament.
in third in a
And
tournament.
he came out like third.
With like MA and like
Wow.
like just like
yeah, I think he
fantastic.
lost to
Yeah.
Mark and Alad. I think those were the only two.
That's a solid
ahead
way
of
to
him.
go at it.
Yeah. So
All right, so continue on with your games.
Yeah, he played Zerkova into Primal Terrors, and it did not go well for me because Zerkova kind of shuts down Primal Terrors pretty hard.
Excellent. I'll be playing Zerkova next week.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Then
So you won't be playing Primal Terrors? It's perfect.
yeah,
All right.
I played Alad. Alad came out on Saturday afternoon, and we played a game. He played Madrak 2 and fucking ping-ponged through 3 units of War Spears, which was just beautiful to watch. And then Will came over Saturday night and brought the child with him, and we played a game.
My first child game in a long time, and
Yep.
your first
It was my second anime
game with
game.
Mag. Yeah.
Yeah. So there was mistakes were made.
Mistakes, lots of mistakes. I'll talk about that because
It was a fun
as I
game,
said,
yeah.
it's all I have to talk about. So.
Then I played a bunch of battle box games with a new player who's been playing the Crix battle box, which is just
At battle box level, that
yeah.
Crix battle box is broken as
it is
fuck.
super good. It's hard to trade with that battle box.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of games. It was good. I had a lot of fun.
All right, Matt, over to you. Do you have any highlights, lowlights from this week of all your games?
Well, I went to MusonCon.
What's that?
What is that?
What is that?
It's a convention run by the Muson Minis guys. Are you guys okay?
Yeah, keep going. We're listening.
All right, so
Well, we're listening.
It's a con in Des Moines, Iowa. So if you don't know where that is,
I do.
You drive to nowhere,
And then further.
then you keep going, and then eventually you'll get there. It's like 6 hours past nowhere. It's pretty bad. The travel. So obviously I drove down with Tim and Evan, and we left Thursday morning at 4 a.m. and we got in at 10 p.m.
Ooh.
We ended up stopping in Chicago for pizza, and that was
Solid.
a grievous error.
Really?
The pizza was amazing, and I have to say that giant cheesy mound was great. But the traffic getting out of Chicago was 2 extra hours on our trip.
So you should have just pulled over to a roadside and then ordered the pizza to there.
Yeah, turns out. Also, our phones died in Chicago when we were trying to get out. And so we had to stop at some random ice cream shop in the middle of suburban Chicago and plug our phones in behind the counter and charge them. Wait for them to charge so we could actually have a map to get out of Chicago, which was super fun. Besides that, we got some
Whose
news on con.
1984 car were you in that did not have any way to charge a phone?
And did it have wooden
good story.
side panels?
So we were using Evan's car, and Evan's car had a car charger that did not work.
Oh. Oh.
So instead of being like responsible adults and be like, this car charger doesn't seem to be working, we should stop at a gas station and get one.
For $1.99. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead, we just like, well, I guess we'll add an extra 3 hours onto our trip, stopping every couple hours to recharge our phones. Yeah, we're not smart.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah. So MuseCon was really good though. They did Champions the first day and Masters the second day and third day for the top 8 cut on the third day. It was really good. I brought Denegra 2 and Gatsby 3 for Masters, and I brought Denegra 2 and Ayakos 2 for Champions. I played a lot of really good games, met a lot of really cool American guys. It's in Iowa, so we're like deep inside Trump territory. So like we're in like the concealed carry state, which was super cool.
So the first question you get asked, so what's it like living in Canada where you're not allowed to have guns?
Pretty much. The gun debate was actually brought up multiple times.
What do you do when somebody tries to shoot you in the face?
Here's a hint,
yes, and you just generously you don't get shot in Canada.
Yeah.
But this is not a political podcast, right?
Nope. Leave that shit alone.
It was definitely an interesting adventure deep into the Midwest. I had a really good time. I lost to Tim in Champions.
What's that like?
Losing to Tim in Champions?
We should all know that.
This was
now.
the first time I lost to Tim in Champions.
Wow.
So,
Shade thrown. Take that, Tim.
What's funny is like Tim's the most gracious loser on the face of the earth. Like, oh, that was fantastic. You did a really good job. I picture Matt when he wins, like, yeah, take that, put it in your pipe and smoke it, Banky.
Suck it, Banky.
As someone who has lost to Matt, that's not how it works.
No,
at all.
I've lost to Matt
He tells
too.
you how
Me
you
too.
fucked it up.
Yeah, I know he did that to me too. He's done it to all of us at least once.
To be granted, I asked. It wasn't just like he's like, you really should have done this, you fucking retard. No, it was like I asked first.
I think I got the fucking something speech. But anyway, continue, Matt. Sorry.
It was we played Denegra 2 versus Borka 2, the rematch from the Adepticon finals. And Tim won this one. It was a really tight technical matchup, and he played it really well. I ended up I felt like I was in the driver's seat of the matchup for about the first half of it. And then I forgot some things, made a few mistakes, made one mistake. And it took me right out of the driver's seat, and just Tim was like, cool, now that I'm winning, you're never going to get a chance to ever get ahead again.
Yeah, that doesn't take long with Tim. You
like,
make one mistake, he's driving now.
Yep, I'm like, cool. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to get Mulg here. He's like, I'm going to countercharge. I'm like, oh, I forgot to stop the countercharge with the machinery that I'd put in position to stop that.
Oops.
I guess I lose now.
Yeah.
Like before, it was like a tight game and very technical, and like it could have been anyone's game.
Yeah.
That one machine race play made it so like Tim's like, well, now I'm winning.
Yeah.
And then like later on, I continued to just make mistakes later on in the game that I was already losing, and I was like, well, time to get aggressive and have good dice carrying me out of this horrible situation I put myself in.
That's how I win every Champions.
Yep. That's how I do it. It's like you make a mistake, and you're like, well, now I need dice. And I just didn't get them. So, like, to be fair, Tim played it really, really well. And he gave me all the opportunities to make mistakes, and I eventually made one. I heard that's how you win games of War Machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty much how Jason and I play every game.
Yeah.
But then the mistake happens turn one.
Well, the mistakes happen every time we activate a model.
So that was good. That was a really fun day. I played a lot of really cool guys. Day 2, I went on to the Masters. So I put Gatsby 3 on my tray, and those were the only models I had on my tray.
Nobody ever bothered to look at the others?
I've played Gatsby 3 times before this event, so I should just win every game, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
You won every game?
In the first day, yeah. I pushed Gatsby 3 down the table. My opponents were like, well, I think this answers Gatsby 3. And I was like, surprised it doesn't.
Yeah. You're wrong. Sorry.
Yep. turns out when you try to play combined arms into Gatsby 3 or like, do pretty much anything into that list that isn't like directly good against Gatsby 3, you just lose.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to make good plays to make that happen. So, I mean, like, it's like essentially like I was playing Karchev or Harkovich. Like, you present a really strong skew and your opponent's like, well, I didn't prepare for this skew, so I guess I lose now.
Yeah. Just how much meat can you push?
Yep. So then that was day 1 of Masters. Day 2, I played against a really cool guy, Sung Soo. I played him in day 1 and day 2. We got the rematch.
The author of The Art of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can call him Mr. Donnelly.
That should have been your first sign.
Dondelinger?
No, Jason, you're drunk. Go home.
Whatever, Dondelinger. I'm going home.
So we had a couple really cool games, and then I ended up playing against Tim, and we played Gatsby 3 versus Madrak 1.
Ooh.
And if you don't know how that game goes at all, I pushed Slayers towards him, and he has to kill them all.
Yeah.
And then he did. And that was that game.
That's a pretty good go.
That's a pretty good answer.
What did he have in that Madrak list?
I think it's exactly his Madrak list from pretty much everything he's been doing recently.
That's fair.
So it's Champs, Min Long Riders, Max Fen Blades, Bomber Mauler.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it.
Max Stone, I think.
Yes.
Maybe?
Yeah, I think so.
It's real good. It's a super cool list. So that was my weekend. I ended up finishing second at MusonCon. Tim got first. So Canada brought home first and second, which was pretty cool.
How did you get out of there alive?
It turns out we drove 16 hours. That's how we got out.
Yeah, it's not the drive there that's the problem. It's the drive home.
Yeah, well, I don't drive, so Tim and Evan were driving in shifts, and I was navigatrixing.
That was
way.
well planned, sir. I salute you. I mean, that plan took a long time. You've been doing that since you were 16 years old. That's
the long game.
To be fair, I used to drive back then, but
yeah, he only has a U.S. license.
Oh.
So, no, it's fine. The drive is great. Tim and Evan drove the whole way. I stayed up 100% of the time and kept them awake.
Oh, that actually might be a better role than the other dude that drives.
You're a sweetheart.
All right. Well, I'm going to do my quick overview of Jason and Mai's game the other day.
It went like this.
How not to play the child?
No, child. I think I did okay. The problem was I played solidly aggressively, but I fed you too many. So it's my
You fed me 2 Skin and Moans, top of 2.
instead of 1, which I probably should have fed you 1.
Yeah.
But I thought anyway, I locked you down pretty good, but man, you just ate through Skin and Moans even without
Primal
your feet
Terrors
turned.
is really good into the child.
Yeah. You were like, I don't know who's going to win this game. I'm like, I think you are because it's pretty good.
Yeah, because I had at the end of the game, I think I had like 4 Warmongers dead and like 5 War Spears and Golab.
It wasn't solid.
No.
So what happened was that I had a way to take out both of his beasts, and I screwed up the activations. So you actually moved up pretty aggressively.
Yep.
And
behind the forest.
If I activated the Gorehound first and pulled you out, I would have been able to take out both your beasts, but I miscalculated slightly on being able to do that. And total positioning errors on that one. But I could have ping-ponged off of a couple other models. Yeah. And I messed that up as well. Yeah. And then the rest of the game was pretty much wide open from there. We did a lot of piece trading, and there was a lot of chances. I had another opportunity to assassinate you at one point, but then I killed the model that I could have ping-ponged off of.
That's right.
So
Animag likes to play up close because of Carnage and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of a middleboard caster, but she's super vulnerable. That's why I had to protect her, but I feel like I should maybe have some more shield guards with her or something.
Yeah, and Child's actually pretty good at just walking up front and taking it like a boss, but you played that pretty well with the 2 inches of reach you had, which...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it was super fun, and it was my first game with Child in the new list that I've got, which just basically is one more Skin and Bones.
The look on Matt's face is like, what the fuck were you guys doing?
It's just
how does that happen?
I was trying not to say anything.
This is what happens when you don't play a game. So it's literally been a month.
So what do you think, Matt? Like what who's got the upper hand in that match? Child or Animag with Primal Terrors?
Probably Primal Terrors, but I don't understand how you lose heavies early in the game as Primal Terrors.
Because
I baited him out with a Golab.
That sounds like a bad bait.
It worked.
Yeah, because
It was obviously good enough.
it was good enough because math.
Yeah.
I mean,
He had to trample to get to GoLab, and GoLab is def 15 because of the bond. And with the trample and having to buy attacks and boost a hit, not enough damage was done.
If I had done the drag instead, that would have stopped the trample. I would have been able to just charge you, which I could have done for free with that, and that's what I really screwed up on. I needed that drag, and it didn't happen. So anyway,
Matt still looks perplexed.
it's fine.
He
fine.
was playing super aggressive. I was playing super aggressive. We were maybe 2 drinks in, 3
A little
drinks in.
tipsy.
I feel like Primal Terrace just smashes that matchup.
It did pretty good.
I'm assuming you were playing 5 heavies.
Yeah.
Will?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure he just kills like all 5.
No, it was
You
4
just-
heavies, 2 lights, and
No, there
and
was-
3
right.
3 Krabbits.
You only had 1 Cage Rager.
It's 3 Skin and Moans, 1 Cage Rager. It's Gonzo's list, basically.
A Rattler.
It's
Gorehound.
Primal Terrace. I feel like Primal Terrace is super good there.
Oh, dude, and I love how Jason downplays it. Like,
Well, that's my job.
I don't know how this is gonna do. I feel like you've got this, Will.
Well, I can't be like, I'm gonna smash your
He's like-
face in, motherfucker.
He's like, I feel like you got this. All my guys only hit you on anything but Snake Eyes.
First,
and Dice
first he
Plus.
just puts his arm over me like this, and he goes, "Hey, Will, I feel like you got this, man. Like this is you. This is all you.
Just ignore that.
Would
tub
you
of
like? Would you like
Vaselines.
to try this? Would you like to try this drink that I made for you? It's just water.
Just water.
It'll be fine."
water and
Ignore the
roofies.
pill taste.
All right, so let's move on, guys. Let's talk about the news. It's only been 20 minutes.
I was
talking-
gonna say it's like
Well, we were. You know what? Actually, one of the news items was how well Matt did at MuseonCon.
So we can cross that off
so
the
we can
list.
cross that off the list. We won't talk about the ADR yet, although they did announce it. Let's talk about some of the changes that came up because of ADR. One, of course, Matt had mentioned a little bit earlier. Matt, I'm going to let you talk about this. They've changed how Masters works and how it interacts with ADR, because that's pretty big news. Tell us about that.
Okay, so if you've been playing War Machine for any amount of time, you know that Masters has an ADR in it. So an active duty roster was keyword here, that if you took 2 of the 4 casters that were on the active duty roster, you got 40 points of Vanguard to kind of sideboard with. So they got rid of that. Masters no longer has access to ADR. Instead, the ADR is exclusively for Champions format. And Champions format has changed a lot too. So now not only is Champions format restricted to a subset of casters. For full factions, it's 4. For limited factions, it's 3. But it's also limited to theme forces as well, and you can't have all of your lists in the same theme forces.
It's pretty
It's
brutal.
actually a brilliant change.
yeah.
I was actually just talking to a few people about this the other day, and we were talking about how the scope of learning the game, especially for Masters format, is so huge that a lot of people simply can't do it. Like, if you go to a convention, you have to know 4,000 different combinations. Are you raising your hand? You
No,
can't do
I'm
it?
one of the people that can't learn it.
Yeah. It's a daunting task that, like, I find myself being like, what does that model do? And having to read people's cards before games.
Reading is
so
annoying.
it's a really daunting task that not a lot of people can do. So by having a limited format where it's restricted to certain themes and certain casters, you reduce the amount of information you need to learn by like 80 to 90%.
It sounds like my kind of jam.
It's really good. I think it's a very good format because it allows you to kind of be knowledgeable in a format. Like, you can practice, and you can dive deep in your model roster for that format, and it's going to be a true test of your list building and skill as a player. And it isn't, the knowledge differential won't be as high between players there either. It's a really brilliant change. I'm a big fan of it.
I think I actually want to play champs more than I ever have before. Mm-hmm. George, as a tournament organizer, which is like, if nobody knows George's role in the Ottawa meta, probably his main role, you play a lot of games, but on the other side of it, you organize the most tournaments, I think.
Yeah.
As a tournament organizer, does this draw you to do more champs style?
Oh, absolutely. I already really enjoyed Champions. Just because of its limited format. War Machine has had a wonderful and horrible problem, which is that if you played the game 7 years ago, and you bring your lists to the table, they are still all valid models. Maybe your lists aren't valid anymore because of
there was a lot less, but there was a lot less models.
No, but the idea is that the wonderful thing is that all of your models are still valid. It's not like they just disappeared or something.
Right.
But what that means is that we've had 10 years worth of models that you have to figure out how the hell to play. And just like the legacy formats for Magic the Gathering, if you literally have access to anything but 12 cards that are banned in the heavy duty Magic, there's so many combinations, there's so much good stuff out there that it's almost impossible to be ready for everything. Where you have in Magic, you have Modern, which is just the last couple of expansions. It doing the same thing in War Machine, having this limited format, means that people just don't have to have all of that knowledge when they're getting back in. So I really think that Champions is going to be really great. The other thing that we're really looking at is doing some caster draft. That's the other big thing that we're looking at for right now.
So I want to bring
up the dance over here.
Well, there's a great question that came up from the chat, which this is part of the conversation because it's a great thing for tournament organizers to have this change in champs at limited format. But Jason, there's a question in the chat that kind of changes that.
Yeah, Peter from Not Snakes Gaming brought up the issue of what's the view on no painting requirement for champs now?
Matt, how do you feel about that?
First of all, hi, Pete.
Hey, Pete! We love you.
Hey, second of all...
I'm neutral about you, Pete, but I don't know you personally, so...
That's probably...
I have kind of mixed feelings on this. So...
I love you, Pete.
First of all, painting requirements are really awkward. So I'm a fan of them, and I dislike them at the same time. So most competitive players, especially highly competitive players, have painted armies. Mostly because of painting requirements existing in competitive formats.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to the WTC or you're going to the Iron Gauntlet at Lock and Load or you're competing in the Invitational at War Machine Weekend, you have to be fully painted. There's, no question about it. You just have to be fully painted. So most people who are competitive players and then on the higher end of War Machine skill have fully painted armies. This is just factual. What the painting requirements do at Champions, though, is require people to rush paint models that they would not normally play, which is a mistake. Speaking from personal experience, on my road to Adepticon Champions, I had to paint 56 models in 3 weeks. So if you don't know what that's like, it's terrible.
Sounds like hell, really.
Yeah, so I just ended up borrowing a bunch of models from people. I borrowed 30 models, and that doesn't feel good for anyone. Now I have to worry about I'm chipping this guy's models, all kinds of stuff, and that's terrible. So I think the painting requirement changes are good.
Yeah.
What, Will?
Oh, no, nothing. We just got the longest
wall of text
ever. Continue, sorry.
I think that a painting requirement on Champions and Masters is probably fine to not exist. It opens up entry into that to more people, and that's what you want. The number one complaint I hear about Champions is always the painting requirement. I would play that on Friday or Saturday, but there's a painting requirement. And that being lifted opens up access to more people. I feel like invitationals and especially streamed events should have painting requirements on them because it looks better for the game.
Well, the nice thing is George, and you can comment to this, is that as a tournament organizer, you can define your own rules. You don't.
Oh, absolutely.
As long as it's not like a lock and load weekend qualifier or something like that, you can say for the champs format this year, we're going to use the champs format, but we're going to screw the painting requirement.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where Steamroller comes in. You can't really do that for champs and masters officially. You can have a champion style tournament, but you can, if you're going to do champions so that people are getting their points,
right?
That you have to abide.
How
by
many people
packs.
Does the points matter to, though? I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, maybe somebody like Matt or Tim or those guys, they care about the points.
Well, here's the thing: if you're going to all the trouble to run a champions event, you might as well make it open enough so that you can attract people who want the points. If you are just doing a local event, why not just call it a steamroller and make it a champion style event?
Fair.
So sorry, Matt, go ahead.
I think if you're going to run any event, the pricing at any the pricing for any convention is always awkward. Like winning events, you don't win money, really. You don't win anything.
You shouldn't.
So you win the prestige of winning and a qualifier. That's one of the most important parts of it. Like if your event doesn't give out money, like it has to give out something. And if it's a trophy, like that's fine. But like giving points towards Lock and Load or War Machine Weekend are both really great ways to incentivize competitive players to want to be there.
Yeah, top players in particular, guys like you guys that travel long ways to go to an event. Jason, as a less competitive player, are you less enticed to play a Champions event if it's a painted one?
No, because I like the idea of limited format, like Matt was talking about earlier. There's a lot less things to just have to remember.
We got a major wall of text in the chat. So Sudabite, if none of you know, he's one of the local players, hardcore into painting, which I don't.
No, you're talking about Crimson.
Sorry, Crimson 199, not 1919. So let's talk about what he's trying to tell us and how that kind of reflects into our meta in particular.
Yeah. So Crimson on the chat is he's a local guy and very much into the painting aspect of the hobby. As well as the playing, but he's basically just kind of, as somebody who's enthusiastic about painting, kind of worried about the lack of requirements for painting, because and I agree, it is much nicer to sit across from a fully painted army or to have your own fully painted army on the table. It leads to a sense of pride, and it just looks better.
And as we all know, painted armies roll better.
They do. They roll better.
Well, let's talk about let's talk about this briefly. Do you think painted armies and having a painted requirement might help limit us from the faction changes?
No, I think it will stop people playing other factions. I think it's the other way around.
Okay, so
all right. So if we all
Fair
woke
enough.
up tomorrow and War Machine had always had painted requirements and that wasn't weird, I think a lot of people would stick to the things that they had painted already, as opposed to branching out into other factions. Or more to the point, they wouldn't be able to play them. They wouldn't be able to adapt as quickly. They play
totally
the unpainted stuff at their local thing, and then when they went to a larger event, it would just be they played the models they had painted again.
I only ask this because one of the things I love is the fact that we don't have those strangleholds on doing things like proxies, which give us a chance to try things out before we buy. Try lists, try a faction, and decide that we don't really like it. So we buy the 30 models or whatever to try the faction out. Maybe not even try it, borrow it from a buddy. It's unpainted. I think that one of the appeals of War Machine, and not to go too deep into it.
Raise your hand. I want to contribute.
Go ahead, Jason.
Another question becomes, is it too daunting for a new player to come in and realize that they can't enter a Masters tournament if it becomes fully painted because they do not have a fully painted army. They're new to the game, and they're having a hard time maybe just learning the rules, let alone getting the time to sit down and paint their models.
Well, that's it. If you're aiming this limited format at people who don't want to have to learn all the things of Masters, and then you're like, oh yeah, but you have to be good at the hobby. Or I shouldn't say good. You have to do the hobby.
You have to do.
So, I'll just be frank here.
Hi, Frank.
Having a painting requirement on any format limits the amount of people that can play in the format.
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Like, there's no other way to take it. Any additional requirements reduce the number of people that can play in it, especially a painting requirement. Like, now you're requiring that every participant in a 150-man tournament spent days or hours to paint their 90 model army or 60 model pairing or whatever it may be. Like, you're just reducing the number of people who can play, period. And that's bad. Like, you don't want to do that. You want the game to be as accessible for people as possible. If you go to any competitive event that has an invitational, the invitational is almost always painting required.
Yeah.
And that's the way you do it. Like, you have
a fair point. I think that's...
Yeah, I think I like to say national level invitationals. I think painting requirement is absolutely just something that you should expect.
I'm going to bring this back around because we're still going through the news at this point.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through things that are a big deal. So we have a bunch of new models coming out this Friday. We had a bunch of new models that came out this last week. Jason, it got you back into Legion.
It did.
Some of the cool models, are you excited about them? Obviously you were, because you played them all against me.
Yeah, so I went to the local game store with you on Friday and picked up Animag Go Lab and Gorag.
Which one's the big birdie?
That's
Golab.
Golab.
That's
Golab.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I didn't know that because he had been proxying it for like a month, and it was another Kearney, I think.
That's not true. That's not true at all. That was the first time I played Primal Terrors. You're on crack.
Somebody else must have done it.
Must have been somebody else. It might have been Jesse.
Probably Jesse.
Jesse totally did.
So
All I know is that giant winged beast came in and took care of business.
I feel like Primal Terrors is a really good theme for Legion because it's missing a lot of the things that Legion doesn't have in some of their other themes, which is really good models. Matt's face. So the way I'm used to playing Legion is very much a Mark II style of playing Legion with Abbey 2 and a bunch of beasts and a couple Hellmouths thrown in just to piss people off. And I had a hard time when Mark III switched over getting into that style of play because that kind of went away. But Primal Terrors is a great way to play Trolls in Legion and be able to take that second list of oracles with all the beasts and still play Legion kind of the way I enjoy playing it.
So new Kador, George.
Not till June.
Not till June. Is that what? So you were asking about that the other day. That
Yeah.
like,
Well,
do they have them yet? Do they?
I went and actually looked up when they were coming out.
Well, that helps.
And
we'll talk
Yeah,
about
go to
that
more
in
cons.
3 weeks.
They're already out at cons.
Oh yeah.
Just go buy your.
Yeah. Just
go drive 16 hours.
just drive 60 hours,
Buy a
get
pizza.
Swifty, buy 4 models, and then come home.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great.
I've done it before.
We've got new paint. We've talked a bit about the new paints coming out. We won't go back into those, but they are starting to appear in stores. You just have to go to the right one.
Is that Piggy Purple ever come out?
I have the Piggy Purple.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So it is out. It
is
exists.
actually
The Valkyrie.
Oh, that's the next Loot Crate model.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people seem to actually be excited about
Well,
it.
I think that people like being able to. Well, the nice thing about the Loot Crate models is, especially if they're leader units and that kind of stuff, is that it allows you to do min units. Of
Yeah,
stuff.
2 min units, and suddenly you have a way to get a new leader.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's talk about CID briefly, guys. We're going to give 5 minutes. They did the CID talk today.
Well, it was more just
It was
cleanup.
it was the
Harbinger,
shutdown.
the CID was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It looks like it was good. We should see stuff about it in 3 months. The only thing I think they said they're still looking at is, I think it's the Warden isn't really, like, everybody's just throwing the Warden out and putting the Hierophant
A lot
in.
of people seem disenchanted with Krios 2 still at this point, I think.
Okay, so I think that there's like a thing about like how community reacts to things is that we, as a community, are like innately reactive. Like we see information and then we all wait for everyone else's opinion and then we like hop on the bandwagon like, yeah. Like that's how the mass majority of like internet works, right? Or like, oh man, some of us think that this is better than this, and then like, yeah, that's the only opinion anyone can ever have. So I think that what ends up happening in CIDs is that you experience like a play difference, right? So like, you have maybe 100 people testing these models across the entire game. Maybe 20 of them are writing reports.
Yeah.
Sounds solid.
So, like, I'm being generous with the numbers here, right? Like, so you end up with this situation where, sure, maybe this small subset of the community is finding these problems, or maybe it's actually a problem and like these people are addressing them and like finding solutions. But in reality, what's usually ending up happening is its initial reactions and people confirming biases about what those reactions are. So like they're like, I think this model is better than this. I'm going to do a battle report where it clearly reflects that because I am biased towards that decision already. And the staff is very aware of this and they pay attention to it and they're very good at weeding out that data.
Yeah.
So they're very good at finding the meaningful information. And they talk about this a bit in the dev hangout, where they kind of talk about how like they feel like the Warder's good with these casters and the Hierophant's good with these casters, but the feedback they were getting is that the Hierophant's always better, and they don't know if it's going to be that the Hierophant comes out of the theme for sure. They're going to test it and see what it looks like. What they do know is that they need to look at it themselves, not have the community look at that.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot on the cast, and this is why we don't focus on CID. And I know there are a lot of people that get excited about CID, and this is always the major topic of conversation. If you want to listen to podcasts that dwell on CID, there's a lot of those out there. the reality is that until those rules are solid and they're in the game, we can't talk about it. We can't really see it until it's in the greater community. And anyway, we're going to move on because tonight's topic is the ADR. So I want to start by talking about what ADR is. We've already discussed how this only applies to the champion-style format, or if you're playing at your local meta and you're like, hey, I'm playing an ADR tonight, so this is how this works, and you get to substitute a bunch of models in. Let's. I want to go over to George first. How does ADR work? What does that mean to be in ADR, and what do you get to do?
Now what it means is that you're playing champions.
Or a friendly game where you're like, but I get to do this.
Yes. Because it used to be part of Masters is why a lot of people know about ADR specifically, because you used to be able to get the sideboard out of it. But now ADR is basically the champions casters you get to use. And as Matt said earlier, it's a limited pool of casters that they rotate. I think just to confirm with Matt, I think they're doing 6-month rotations now. Or
it's been 6 months per.
Yeah, so it's a 6-month rotation, so that's enough time to get your list and sort of really get your teeth into it. And they have said in the past that they were trying to get caster pairings that had not been seen before or that weren't often done in the meta, but I think they've really changed the way that they are building those up now, because what they seem to be doing is giving us a much more balanced set of casters. And because not only are they limiting the casters, but they're limiting the actual theme forces that the casters can be in, that allows you to tighten right down to, you're going to see most of the casters lend themselves to a theme force or another. So you can very easily say, out of each faction, I'm going to probably be seeing these 2 or 3 lists, and it allows you to really focus in.
So when you go into ADR, if you're playing in the Champions format, you have to be in ADR.
Absolutely.
What do you get? What is the sideboard? What does that mean?
Did they add a sideboard to Champions?
I don't think there's.
No. So now it's literally just so you don't even get the sideboard anymore.
It is just
you literally just get what you're getting.
The active duty roster is literally just the list of casters. That
it's literally a limited format at this point. All right. Well, that changes the game.
It does, and I really like the change. The ADR specifically that we're talking about right now is the Season 8 upcoming ADR, because it's the one, of course, that has just been released. So that's the one everybody wants to get ideas about.
Okay, so moving right along, let's talk about ADR. Let's go through some of the ADRs that are out there, the factions.
We're going to go faction to faction?
We're going to go faction to faction. We're going to go relatively quickly because we're going to try to do this in 8 minutes.
That's less than a minute per faction.
Well, I'm going
enough time to say that.
13 minutes sounds
not
more
if
likely.
Not if we talk about the limited format that I'm giving you right now. So George, why don't you ask Matt? You guys go through the factions, faction by faction, and I'm going to just run. I
don't think there's enough time for questions.
Go for it.
Okay, so Signar, who's in heavy metal?
All right, so we got Darius in Heavy Metal and Cray or Siege 2 in Gravediggers, though Striker also works in Gravediggers and Striker also works in Heavy Metal.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Next.
I like Striker for the everything. In Menoth. So
we're going to have Vindictus and Sev 2 in Faithful Masses, or Krios 3 or Durst in Faithful Masses. Turns out that theme's really good.
Yeah.
Also, Durst or Sev 2 in Creator's Might.
Cool. So you're expecting a lot of Durst out there.
I'm expecting a lot of. I don't know. It depends what the format ends up taking. Like what you expect to have to counter.
Durst and Dervishes.
Kador, we got Armor Corp and Jaws of the Wolf.
So, I have no idea how Sorcerer 3 even works, but if she does work, she's going to be an Armored Core. The Butcher of Kardov will be in most likely Jaws of the Wolf. Koldoon Commander Zerkova will be in Armored Core, and Supreme Commandant Irosk will be in Armored Core as well. Or Jaws, he's good there too.
It's basically Butcher, Jaws, and then somebody else running Armored Core.
I mean, you can't go wrong. Just put something in something. It's Khador. Push your models forward.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Don't know what you're talking
I
about.
play Khador. I
Khador
totally am not
is
wrong.
very refined.
Black Industries.
Strategy. Heavy strategy.
Crix, Black Industries, and Scourge. Are we going to see that Scar 3?
So Gatsby 1 is going to be Scourge. Scar can run either theme really well. Iacos runs Black Industries well, and Gorshade 1 runs Black Industries well. And I guess you could come up with something in Scourge, though that's like real deep in the jank tank.
Fair.
The Retribution, assuming that they're the way they are right now.
The way they are right now is Ron in Defenders or Forges, Assyria in Defenders, Virus 2 in Forges or Defenders, both those are fine for him, and Alara in Defenders.
So yeah, there's a lot of defenders on that table.
Just play Defenders. That's the faction in a nutshell.
Play Defenders.
Hope you bought 3 units of Defenders.
Which 2 casters are playing Destruction Initiative?
The answer is Orion and Lucant, or Aurora runs Clockwork Legion well, so does Orion, and so does Lucant. So really, Convergence is super flexible, turns out.
That's the first time I've heard that.
It's all the feelers. Okay, over to Mercs. They get 3 themes.
They get 3 themes and 5 casters. That's because there's a Cephalix caster, which means they have to automatically include Operating Theater.
Right.
Okay.
So Leali's Resistance is only available for Gaston Cross and Ashlyn, so they are going there. And Kingmakers is the only available theme for Magnus and Damiano, so they go there.
So it's literally pick a caster, and then that's the theme you're using.
Who's the
Yes,
Cephalix caster?
it's the most restrictive
Siphon.
ADR so far.
Siphon, which
Cognifex.
nobody plays.
So Trolls, Dunia, and
Trolls,
Storm of the North.
Trolls ADR is basically a collection of some of the best casters in Trolls.
Yeah.
Turns out, and it's like in the best themes too.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really hard to go wrong. This ADR is super good. Kalandra plays really well on Power of Dunia or Storm of the North. Doomshaper 3 is really good in Power of Dunia. Gristle 2 is fucking amazing in Storm of the North, and Borka 2 is really good in both themes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yup.
The troll one is really solid.
Yeah. Circle, Bones, and Devourer.
So Bones is really good for Cassius and Kruger. The other theme is really good for not Cassius and Kruger.
Totally did too. Nobody
Fucking
plays it.
retread.
Nobody plays it.
Wormwood, good.
Yep, Wormwood's pretty good.
Scorny. We got Imperial Warhost. Nice. And Masters of War.
So Masters of War with Makeda 2 is good. Jalam with Imperial Warhost or Masters are both great. Hexerus and Imperial Warhost is quite good. And Morgul 2, it looks like, I think.
Yeah.
Master Tormentor sounds like 2.
Yep.
It's quite good in Masters of War. I mean, the Scorn ADR is super good. You get turtles. I mean, can't go wrong.
So Animag and what in Legion?
Actually, all 4 of these are super compelling in the ADR. They're super good. Animag and Thagrosh 2 are both like amazing Primal Terrace casters. So is Lilith. Oracles of Annihilation is
Veil
an easy
too.
home for Veil and Lilith.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of where you end up going.
And some minions.
So this Minions roster is probably my favorite roster to date. You get Barnabas 2, which can be in either theme. You get Sturm and Drang, which obviously can only work and will work for food, but it's his obvious home. Jaga Jaga can work in either super well, and Dr. Arcadius is one of the best casters in Minions and maybe in the game, and will work for food.
I love me some. I like the idea of Arcadius and then the bitching Sturm and Drang just fighting with themselves. And to cap it all off, what are the Grimkin doing?
So the Grimkin ADR is super good. You get Old Witch 2, can be played in either theme, but is definitely better in Bump in the Night. Child definitely runs Dark Menagerie, better of the two, and King of Nothing is good in either theme, but will most likely be played in Dark Menagerie.
We had a comment come from the board about the being able to use the battle box casters.
Yeah, apparently the battle box casters are legal in all ADR, so you can take them regardless of whether they're on the list or not.
Interesting. When did that come out?
Today at 11:44.
That's pretty cool. I was not aware of that, but that's a neat ad.
Yeah.
I don't know how it changes what'll be good and what, but I guess getting like
Cost?
no. I don't think any. I mean, Ragnar maybe
Koslov
for
and
trolls.
Armored core maybe for the speed.
Yeah,
speed?
that could be good.
Yeah, because Ragnar needed to be in that. Just give trolls a little bit more. Oh, or I'd rather take a beast type. Oh, there we go. I'll just take Ragnar.
You're probably still taking Doomy
maybe
instead.
there'll be an argument for them, but most of the casters that are on the ADR are fairly compelling and look really good.
Yep.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for tonight. I want to, just before we go, leave this whole ADR thing and go into the questions for this evening. Matt, which are the winners? Which are the losers? Who got the thumbs up? Who got the thumbs down on this ADR roster?
So I think the best winner is probably Legion. They got, Animag and Thagrosh 2 on 180 are both like great.
Super good.
They're amazing there. Merc's ADR is obviously super good, even though it's really restrictive. As a current Crix player, I'm excited for Scar 3 on ADR. She's real good, turns out. Really, all of these ADRs are super good. I think instead of having a conversation of which one's good, I guess it's which one's the worst. And, I don't even know. They all seem super good. Maybe Circles is the worst, but we have to wait till the Tharn CID to really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
they know more than we do.
I think it's a testament to their choices that you can't immediately go, oh, that faction's going to be shit. You actually are looking at it and you're like, oh, I actually have to look at each faction.
So before we change subject too much, one of my guys asked me if I'll be able to win a Champions event now that Denny 2 is off the roster. I'm going to be a tentative no. Turns out that caster carries real hard.
Do you have Scar 3, Matt?
I sure do, and I had her commission painted by a wonderful commission painter.
Is that Ben? I know he was.
It
painting.
sure was.
Yeah, because he was
nice.
painting like
Nice work.
5 of them.
Nice work. Yeah, he was like, I can't do my troll painting because I've got 5 scars to do.
Peter just brought up, did Protectorate got gypped without exemplars?
Yeah, exemplars is not one of their allowed themes.
Yeah.
So it's the only one of the themes that are not allowed that's went into CID. It's super weird.
Maybe the CID won't be finalized for 6 months.
Actually, it's just 3.
They don't know what the balance is going to be by
That's
the time
fair.
they had to release the ADR, so they don't want to put something that's untested there.
Yep.
I'd like to put a shout out to Matt and George, who during this limited format that we just gave them for talking about an entire thing,
the lack of rambling was amazing.
Blasted through it. Like that was, if those guys did that on clock, like less widgets, it would be amazing.
Yeah. George would win a lot.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for
The Lightning Round.
Unfortunately, we don't have a Minty Fresh question of the week. Because I've been trying to contact Minty.
so sad.
He hasn't got back to me. I like to say that on the air because usually he gets back to me like within a couple of days.
No pressure, bro.
So I made up a really hard question. There's at least 2 of these questions that I had to go completely from my own knowledge.
Oh no, they're wrong.
So they're going to be wrong.
They're going to be wrong.
Yeah, totally. Question, and you guys all know how to play. If you're playing at home, you just try to become the smartest and be honest with yourself. If you're playing here with us in the room, Matt, I'm going to ask you to also raise your hand when you buzz in, just because sometimes when these people buzz, they buzz louder than you. Not that that's been a problem in the past, since I think you won every round you've played. Question number 1. Anson Durst is the blank of the faith.
Bam.
Go for it, Matt.
Rock
It
in
is.
the face.
It is the rock of the face.
Face.
Rock in the face. Question number 2.
He's totally rocking a face.
He's the rock in my face. Question number 2. How far can a cask imp move during its normal movement? Matt.
So it's speed 5 and it moves an additional d6.
Correctamundo. Question number 3. What are the benefits of amphibious?
Bam.
Matt.
So you ignore water for rough terrain for your normal movement or advance, and you gain concealment while within it.
You're close. There's 2 more qualifiers to that.
You can't be targeted while in.
No, that's
Incorrect.
submerge.
Incorrect.
That's submerge.
Incorrect.
I'm wrong.
Incorrect. Anybody else?
I don't know.
I'll give Matt all the points.
remember
You
the
also do not block line of sight,
Right.
and it's shallow water is considered open terrain. Not
Deep-
that
not
deep
deep water.
water doesn't
Deep water
actually
doesn't
exist anymore, but
Sorry, Tom.
Question number 4. What is the name of Vladimir's bonded jack? Matt.
Asshole.
Drago.
Correctamundo. So far, Matt is at 856 points, and you guys are at 0. I just want to point that
It's
out.
like our last War Machine game.
Yeah, pretty much. Question number 5. This is when it gets tough. Question number 5. Name the Death Wolves. George.
One's called Joe, the other called Phil.
No, you don't get to make up a name. They actually
you just
have
said to
names.
name
No,
them.
you have
You
to.
didn't say give me the correct
They
names.
have no. Give me.
You just literally
oh
said
my
name
dear
them.
Lord. Give me the correct names.
I can name one of them.
Go for it.
His name is Scroll.
It is. It actually. It's not. It's close. There's no
Bob?
R. It's Jason.
He-Man.
He's the master of the universe.
I don't know what their names are. I only know what they look like dead.
Skull. It is Skull, like the
Skull.
not scroll.
Not Skrull.
Tala and Caleb.
Caleb.
Yeah, Corpse
Caleb.
1, Corpse
One
2,
of
Corpse
these
3,
things
whatever.
Yeah,
is
this
not
is-
like the other.
Yeah, number 1, number 2, number 3.
Caleb.
Dude with the axe, dude with the sword,
You just
and the
dude
girl.
with the dude with the briefcase.
Battle mages, specifically the ones in the game, come from what house? Jason.
Host Shail.
That is correct. 1 point for. I'll give you 800 points for that one. So
Woo.
you're only 95 points behind.
Coming
that.
for you, McWaters.
Question number 7. What advantages do Clockwork Angels have? Go for it, Matt.
So first of all, they have flight.
Mhm.
Second of all, they have just flight.
Nope. Come on.
Go.
Oh, they have combined range attacks. That's
Yep.
You gave him the second
I
one.
know.
There's 2 more.
That's
George,
cheating.
do you know what they are?
Minus 50 points.
George, I'm going to let you. If you can name 2 more, I will give you 800
Oh,
points.
I can name 2 more. Do they have to be on the Angels?
No, they have to be on the Angels.
That's different. It's going to be harder.
That-
If you can name the other 2, I will give you 800 points.
These aren't on the weapons. These are on the.
No,
on
they
the
are
main
literally
unit?
just the advantages, the dots underneath the title.
So combined ranged. Do they have AD?
That's
and-
advanced.
I'm not
deployment.
giving him
Advanced
anything.
deploy. And what would the other one be?
Parry.
Actually, it might be Perry. No,
not.
I don't think it is.
I'm going to give you a hint. It's something that most of that faction has.
Oh, it's Construct?
There you go. 800 points.
I was nodding along, correcting him, or
AD and Construct, CRA and Flight. Those are the
So broken.
Just 4.
Kidding. Just kidding.
So broken.
If they
Except
didn't
they die to a stiff breeze.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, question number 8. The caber thrower can be attached to what unit? I'm going to give it to Jason.
That would be the Creel Warriors.
Correct,
Will.
Amundo. Question number 7. This is where I'm going to screw up because I can't define all the variables. If there are no variables.
Question 7 again?
Sorry, 9. The Storm Strider cannon can normally hit how many modules max per round if its rolls are the maximum arc targets? Matt.
So it shoots its initial gun, then gets D3, leaps past that target, and can fire twice. Now you can temporal accelerate it for 3 shots.
I'll do you
so
one
it'd be
better.
9 shots, 9 targets total.
Incorrect, because it would be die 3 targets, correct?
Yeah, 3 for each.
No, 3 for
Plus your initial.
That's what I just
Because
said.
the arcs die 3 after
3
that.
total shots.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
So
With D3.
3 total shots. Your
So-
initial attack.
So 9, so 12. Sorry, Jason gave me the wrong math.
There you go. I'm going to give you all 50 points.
I'm
Don't
Matt's-
blame
Matt's
pin this
still
on
winning.
me.
I'm going to do you one better. It hits 0 modules. It only hits
Modules.
You said modules.
I'll do that.
Mobbles.
It's probably how I spelt it. I did. Question number 10. What is the name of the treaty that formed the Iron Kingdoms? Jason.
The Iron Kingdoms Treaty.
Incorrect,
Shit.
sir. Incorrect, sir. Anybody? There was a big old
it
war
the
fought in this city.
I want to say it's the something of skulls.
Nope, incorrect.
No,
I
I
will
got it
tell you
wrong.
to not go on
Yeah.
that tangent because you're
Make
not
the
even
Iron
close.
Kingdoms great again.
Anybody? There's red hats. They all just wear red hats with that. This is not a political podcast. It's called the Corvus Treaties. The Corvus
Oh, that
Treaties.
makes
I knew that. I actually did.
That actually That actually.
That was
now
our
you say
Minty
that.
Fresh question. I
Oh,
thought I actually did.
Jeremy got it.
Wow.
Nice.
Jeremy of Lille
Good
wins
job.
the game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of upkeep to do before we go off the
A lot of little bit?
A lot of little.
A lot of little
We
bit.
got a lot of little to do.
Have you been talking to my wife?
Yes. Hey, baby. We need a lot of little right now.
Jason's
Half
your
head,
man.
half shaft is normal. Don't let
Pillow
anyone tell you
fights
different,
at your
Jason.
house. That's what I heard. That's going on right now.
Why aren't we there?
I don't know. We're
Later,
doing a
dudes.
podcast. And that's when Jason nopes
Pack
out.
it up.
So, Jason, before you go,
Yeah.
is there anything going on in the world of Fraser?
I don't know. Frater doesn't talk to me anymore.
I have some
I stopped
inside.
playing Troll Bloods. And
I
he
have
was
some
like, "Fuck you."
inside news on Fraser.
Oh yeah, give us
Well,
some info.
let's call it let's call it a teaser. I happen to know that
He's a really sweet dude.
I happen to know that his programmer is going to be up in his area very soon, and he's going to try and convince
he
him
is.
of some very
Jesus Christ.
interesting new projects. And if you've ever used Longshanks, you'll have an idea of maybe what's going on.
How about you, Longshanks?
I don't know.
I don't know. It means
I
nothing
think
to
that's
me.
I'm not drunk enough for this.
I watch a
podcast.
lot of
no.
Braveheart.
I think that's obtuse enough that Fraser won't gut me the next
Fair
time
enough.
he sees me.
I do have other news, though.
Yes.
Battle College is dead.
Yay!
Long live War Machine University.
Sweet.
The Line of Sight guys have taken over Battle College, renamed it War Machine University, and are planning on keeping it up and running and going strong.
And actually
Sweet.
up to date and
Yep.
good.
Yep.
I wonder if Brett's gonna write an article on clock management. I think that's something that could be good on there.
Ouch. Jesus.
So I want to give a quick shout out to Out of the Box, who keeps everything up and running here. And so, I mean, like full disclosure, they're the people that make sure that we can afford to do this podcast.
Yup.
But on the other side of it, the reason why we went to them this year,
Because that's where we play.
well, because that's where we play, and man, like they've got everything.
Oh yeah.
So there's a funny story about this. I was on the Discord Legion chat, and Friday, when all the new Legion models came out, there were several users who were very frustrated because their local gaming stores weren't going to get those new Legion models in for 2 or 3 weeks. And I was like, man,
I went over it yesterday.
I'm
and
really
got 'em.
spoiled because I just walked out of there after walking in when the doors opened and grabbing them off the counter.
And they had
So-
more than just the ones.
Oh,
that
they had
gave you.
5 of each model.
That's fantastic.
His normal order is 7 of anything new.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So if there's something new comes out, he reaches over
We're a
and grabs
little
7.
spoiled, I think.
Yeah, we are very spoiled in Ottawa, and we pay U.S. MSRP in Canadian dollars.
That's pretty
But-
fantastic. That's 20% off on everything.
Also,
Yeah.
the cool thing is they have an online store where you can order these on that
And
day.
if
You
you're-
can pre-order them.
If you're in Canada, like at least Ontario, Quebec, that whole area, it's like
A day or
flat
two.
$15 shipping in
Yeah.
like 2 days to get it.
Yeah.
So if the products you would be ordering are like, if your store's markup is like, normal, like 10 or 15% over
Yeah.
US MSRP,
You might as well just get them.
you could just have them show up at your door in 2 days by ordering them off
For the same
out of
price.
the box. Yeah.
All right, guys. Last topic. Let's go to Matt. Do you have any cool events going on in your area?
So, our local meta has a team tournament this weekend called the Straight Dice Team Tournament. So there's a few teams going on there.
Yep. There's a bunch of
Following-
Ottawa guys heading down.
Yep. So there's a couple people coming down. Following that, we have the Tech 2 coming up, which is June 16th, which is a team tournament, fairly large. I think we're 22 teams.
Mhm.
So I'm going to be showing up with my WTC team and cracking some skulls, having a good time. I'm really excited for that. It's going to be our first big team practice before WTC, obviously. We just started a qualifier for a Quebec specific event called the Kraken Cup. So all the different towns kind of get a certain number of qualifiers, and we send our best players to go battle out for a bottle of rum and some cool trophies and glasses.
Bottle of the best rum.
You should
Okay.
really get them to sponsor us.
Best rum!
Besides that, we just had our World Ender qualifier happen last weekend while I was out of town, so I'm not sure who won that. Andre ran that. Apparently there's a champions event that Andre's mentioning.
Yep.
That on the 30th of June, which will be after the ADR rotates. So I don't know if I'll even attend. I mean, Denny 2's not on it. Who knows?
Yeah. Crutch is gone.
Crutch is gone. I don't know. I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay, Jorge, go.
We have the next in the Ottawa series coming up next month. The month after is the big finals. The month after that is CCBB. There was some erroneous information on the CCBB page. There is a Champions and a Masters happening. It is not the War Machine Weekend qualifier. That's going to be held on to for Armatura in October. And after that, we're going to have a caster draft tournament in Ottawa.
Sweet.
And then after that, I think it's another big Champions. And we'll probably have one or two smaller events in there as well. I know that I think there's an FDB event coming up in, I want to say July as well.
Okay, everybody, thank you very much for listening to the podcast. Sorry for Jason, who drank most of a bottle of Kraken this evening.
Don't apologize for me.
He can't even apologize for himself.
I would apologize for myself, but I have no regrets.
I was more apologizing to sending you home at this point where there's...
I walked here.
He did that on purpose. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this evening. Thank you very much for tuning into the Death Clock. Jason, hit that button.
No dice down?
I'm working on it.
Dice down!
Dice down! Moose Machine and This Death Clock Has 60 Minutes is a proud part of the Muse on Minis network. Podcasts go online every Thursday morning. You can watch the show live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and keep in touch with us on our Facebook page. Just Google Moose Machine. If you can't find us, you're doing the internet wrong.